All right.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
I'm commanding life with the power of elegance. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Through all the glitches and juices, I want to apologize to everybody out there. I hope you come back and listen. I just had some glitches on a laptop. It just said, you know what, Ceci, you need to really get another laptop. You've been holding on to me for so long, and you just can't do it, girl. You've been doing it and doing it. You prepared me, and you seen I broke. I've been here and everywhere from Thailand to Mexico to the United States. I can't hold on anymore, girl. Do it. And I shay. So I honor that. I'm going to get me one. Yeah. I would sound like I was coming out of a spaceship and under a tunnel. And I
Hmm.
was so excited, and it like, no, honey, no. So, with that being said, I want to welcome everybody to Food Alchemy Network. I am Dr. D of Food Alchemy Network, and this is Arlene, the power of tranquility, but also known to me as healing paradigm as well. And we'll get into more about that. But I called her, as you can see on my website and flyer, as a relationship expert. So, reason I say that, she's has some experience in various parts of relationships, meaning one as a married woman, one as a divorced woman, and another one as a remarried woman. So, and this why I think it was very important to bring her, to bring that aspect from those viewpoints to someone like myself. I've never been married, so I can't tell you what it's like. I'm kind of no. I'm in my particular way, and there is some give and take in relationships that we know that we must give. And some of us are not ready to give, and some of us don't know how to give. We can say that in many different ways. It all depends on how you want to look at it. So today's topic is Black women coloring outside the lines. And why I say color? Because I love color. And outside the lines, it means going outside the dynamics of what you say. They say stick to your skin folk with your kin folk, but not always your skin folks is going to be with your kin folk, okay? Let's keep it real. So I got to make you laugh because this is, I'm trying to say it's a serious subject that needs to be discussed and talked about in the most serious sense. Why? Um, it gets my panties in a tuchus when I see a lot of derogatory comments from women and men when women are going outside the race, or men that are outside the race or dating outside the race are not looked at upon or frowned upon. It's more accepted. It's okay. He's a boy. It's almost like that gender thing. He's a boy. It's okay. He can go do that. Yeah, yeah. Girl, you can't be doing that. You looking like a hoe. You know what I mean? We got all these labels and stereotypes of what it is you want the woman, epitome of the woman. She's got to be perfect. She's got to be close. She's got to accept all your flaws. And she's got to give all of her and keep none for herself. No dignity, no pride, no respect, nothing. This is something that, we address. So I look forward to people and their comments that you would have that you might want to embark on. if you have some. So that's why I really went to the next level and said what I did. So let's see. Let's open the floor with you. I know I just put it out there like bam. I apologize.
Okay, quick question. Can you hear the sound in the background? Because if it's disturbing it, okay. So let me let me see if I can go ahead and make a shift out of here. So they're working on the infrastructure of the city, and periodically they come down my street and do some stuff. So let me like relocate myself to an area of the house that is a little bit more quieter and not so close to the front door.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll talk. Okay, so the thing is that a lot of women are in higher education. They're getting degrees, they're getting masters, they're uh entrepreneurs, CEOs. They're in Women of color are in a high position. They're actually deans of colleges, universities, they're professors. They're not slacking or lacking in these areas of going in uprising. Now, some of the things we find with some of the men, we're finding a lot of the men of color are being locked up, they're being jailed, they've had some mental issues they need to work on, self-healing for themselves, that is going on. It's an onslaught of, mommy mama drama, and I don't mean the baby mama drama, I mean the drama with the mamas
Mama.
and female dramas of dysfunction in that family. Okay, so we got that issue going on. Then we got the kid that never wants to grow up, wants to live in the basement, want to have the same life, but want to have many girlfriends and don't have the money to piss the pot in. And then you got some of men that do have these. Now, some of them, let's break that category down. They are gay, or they are on the down low, which we need to
Hmm.
really talk about what
Hmm.
the real down low is, because you don't always know when a brother is on the down low. Okay.
But there are signs. We can
Uh,
we'll talk about that. We'll talk
yep.
about that. But there are signs.
Okay. So then, like I said, they're locked up, they're gay, or they decide to tip out on the other side when they make it up. And the thing is, a lot of them, when they start out with a successful black woman. And I'm not saying there are not other men that out there, I'm just saying some of these great men stay with these women for 40 and 50 years, or 60 and 70. A great couple I love was Ruby D and Ozzy Davis. That
Hmm.
was my ultimate couple. They worked together. They were together in every strength, and they came together. They told a lot of young people coming up in show business as a colored or a person of a hue how to really go about making a relationship work, but also in this business and the pitfalls that they would fall. And not only in the business, I figured that's also in life that can be taken from that aspect, if you will. So let me know when you're ready. I'm sitting there
I'm
just
ready. I'm
get
ready.
okay. Thank you.
I'm ready. So here's an interesting thing about Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis. For a while there, they had actually opened up their relationship.
Yep. Yep.
um, and let's just say that I have to I have to admit that to have that type of relationship and to have had the type of longevity that they had as a couple, they must have been very open with their communication with each other and definitely have an understanding for them to get to a place where, well, they had opened up their relationship, and I think at some point closed it up after, they said, well, you know enough of that. We're committed to each other. Yeah.
Right. And that's, I mean, I like that. Everybody's, it's not for everybody, and it could be just for a period or it could be for a lifetime. Um, but all depends. Some people are monogamous beings, okay,
Hmm.
and that is for them. And then some people are not monogamous beings, and that is okay. Some
Hmm.
people are just poly. And poly means, for me, let me define what poly means, because poly don't mean you're hanging from the roof and you're swinging with everything that got a thing in a circle. Poly means for me is having a relationship with another person, but you're all in the relationship together. That's what poly means to me. It's not I'm seeing you, you going here, but we all know what's going on. We're talking, we're sitting, we're discussing, we're in this together. And my partner knows about you, and it's not one sided, because I've
Hmm.
seen where that can go slighted. I had a friend that was in the poly life. Me, you know who I'm talking about. Me and her know, she knows it very well too. Was poly, or she said she was poly, got with someone, met them in that poly circle, and particularly uh, were doing swinging, going to swinging events. That male partner decided, well, knew that she didn't like a specific male's uh, pe- male, I don't know how to put it. She didn't like certain men, and basically deliberately took her to the men she did not want to be with, so he could be with the
you know,
women.
it is, it is a double-edged sword, because sometimes in some relationships there are men who, they just want to be able to have multiple women. Technically, what they want is a harem, or they want a sister wives situation, but they don't necessarily want the woman to partake in the experience of the poly experience. You got to be honest with you. Come on
Right,
now.
right.
Come,
That, see,
you know,
that's what I said. Took her to a situation that she was uncomfortable in, had fun while the partner was miserable. That was not that was not clear communication, and that was unfair. So for me, it was an opening. And you're like, sister wives. Sister wives, let me say, is a little bit different. They all partake in supporting the household.
household.
And when you want to be in those situations when people bringing about the Bible and the Quran and all this other stuff, y'all need to look at it. If you're going to have multiple wives, you got to be able to support each and every one equally. You need to be with that end of person equally. It's supposed to be equally. I don't know how you do that with five women. I don't know how you do that with five, whatever it is. And you have five children. So all of them are supposed to get the same thing at the equal time. And that way it is not jealousy. But we're getting off topic. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I mean, because I can talk about some poly. I'm just saying. It was going there. But we ain't gonna go there. Um, I wanted, talking about longevity of relationships and positivity, like we said, Ruby Davis. There are some of them, but there are some other ones. But I was gonna say Cicely Tyson and oh my gosh, Miles Davis. But y'all don't shoot the messenger. Cicely Tyson was jealous and a vindictive young woman when it came to Miles Davis, and very destructive. It's been known what she can do. So I don't call that that wasn't a good relationship. But when you looked on the outside, it was. Um, you know, my hats off to her, great, actress, whatever. But like I said, there are there are not a lot of role models that we do see today of staying together. Like we grew up with the image, don't shoot the messenger, Bill Cosby and Claire Huxtable.
Hmm.
That image, it's beautiful. Now, I grew up, my step grandfather had been, great grandfather had been with Nanny for 50 something years. 50 something years. Whew! Long time. Long, long time. That made me start looking up the anniversaries. They had the gold and the silver, the tissue, and the da da da. I don't know if y'all remember all that. Each anniversary had some kind of
Yeah.
segments or element to it when
Yeah.
I was a kid, and
Hmm.
we celebrated. And for
Hmm.
me, that was, if a relationship, that's what I wanted. My papa made some sacrifices. Whoo! I fell for him. But that is, they worked together. They raised children together. They came together. But that's what you've seen in a home. At least that's what I've seen in my home. And I can't say that was with a lot, because I understand a lot of people didn't grow up with example. I came from a two-family home. Um, I grew up in a two-family home. So for me, it's different when someone says, "Well, I've never seen that." Well, I've seen that all my life, so maybe that's why I am what I am. But that is, Claire Huxtable, the Cosby was for me nothing new, if that makes sense. That's what I seen. That you work together, they're working, they're building, they had children, they got a house. That's what we see. So we're ingrained to see that, and that's what we project out into the world,
Hmm.
that that's what we want. And I'm not saying we don't, and we're not going to reject if a good man comes along, but why limit your options to just one pool? um if men are not healed, I don't think it's my job to heal a male for me to be in a relationship. I'm not coming into the relationship to be a therapist. He needs to go get therapy and
Hmm.
then be in a relationship. Because number one, you got to need to function on your own. So the thing is that there's like, you know what? We're the mamas, we're the nurturers. Yes, we are, but who is nurturing us? Who's caring for us? Because while you're out there, we're battling, so were we. While you're getting struck down, so were we. But we get it worse. You know what I mean? Not only, so we got to look at it in a lot of different ways that is going on. That's why I'm saying women should not just,
Limit
you
their
stay there.
options. Yeah. So the current statistic now, the latest one that came out, I think in 20, it was either 2020 or 2021, is that there are 70% of Black women that are unmarried. And so all of those things that you had mentioned earlier, about the reasons to why they are single, they do apply. And the one of the things that I think it is, it's it's a strength of Black women, but also we're seeing now that it is working to their detriment, especially if you are wanting or desiring a relationship. There is going to be necessary for you to open up your options, just simply based off of the numbers, so that you have the opportunity to fulfill those dreams and desires of being in relationship. Um, this is not to say that living the type of life that you've wanted to live. But especially if that is a desire of yours and it is a valid desire, there's nothing wrong with wanting family, home life. There's nothing wrong with wanting or desiring a partner. But it is it is going to be sort of incumbent upon you, especially for Black women, when you're just looking at the sheer number, to look outside of the you know the parameters that you may have been limiting yourself to. um, and I would say that it's probably necessary to even do that at a young age so that you have the opportunity to you know be able to navigate those waters of what that looks like when you are dating people who may not come from the same background that you may have. Um, I Let's just put it this way. I think after it wasn't because of lack of opportunity, but after I got divorced, there were the only reason that I didn't go with the guy or try him out was because he was in a relationship. I don't do that. But he was also a smoker. But I I recognize the fact that you know because of what individual's preference may be, they may actually have blinders on as to when somebody from another background is approaching them for the potential of going on a date or things of that nature. But they're just a little bit more calm about it and far more subtle about it in comparison to um, what they may have experienced with a person within their own culture.
Right. Well, and the thing is, women, they don't know the clues, and that's something. Well, I've been international all my life, so my first boyfriend or my first crush was Stephen Janelli. Can you tell Stephen Janelli? My next crush was Bruce Calhoun, which was my best friend who I grew up with, Calhoun. We used to go to kindergarten together, which was her big brother. I mean, I think all, like little girls have crush on their big brother. So I grew up very diverse, for me. So he was my big crush. I mean, he had that hair going on, the long hair and all of that stuff. So for me, I was pushed, not pushed, but this was my everyday environment and it wasn't Friday, but let me rephrase that. I had a girlfriend, um, hmm, I'll just say E. I didn't realize that her father was racist because he welcomed me in the house and we were, cool with me. Um, but she wanted to date someone of color. And she came to school one day and used the NIGGER word. Girl, let me tell you, she was introduced to the toilet water.
Okay.
And, she said she didn't know. I didn't care. I don't know what it was. I never had heard that word before. Now, that's the thing. I lived around this. But something about the energy when she said it and she was talking and then she was getting all uppity. And my friend Rita Dorita was like, and Dawn, I was in a mixture of all friends. So when she said it, they stopped and looked. And then I just said, I couldn't help myself. I just drug her in the bathroom and she was drinking toilet water. And that was the end of it. Guess what? She never said that NIGGER ever again.
And I guess the question that I would have for you is like, well, how because you've obviously had more experience than I have, um, but how did you navigate the, I guess you could say, those waters of being able to be mindful of those people who may have had racial biases against you because of the color of your skin, or was that never an issue for you?
That never became an issue for me. I never recognized it. If someone like me, they like me, I will talk to them. I'm one of those. At that time, I was smart, but I was popular smart, if that makes sense, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm very brainiac, but I was like, I'm the tomboy. So I'm gonna be with the boys, and I ain't had no time for no girls. So if you were my friend, if you were a girl, you were my friend from when we was like kindergarten. Other than that, I ain't got time for you. Because I realize y'all want to be my friend is because I hang out with guys. I play football. I was racing. I was beating the heck out of boys. I was a tomboy. So I never had that problem. So for me, I would see anybody I like, how you doing? How you feeling today? Or people are just gravitated to me. I'll be on a bus. We had this little bus that ran around Manioc, the 35 bus. That's what it was on SEPTA. And the bus would ride all the way down up and around our school. So we got on and everybody would just sit down and talk to me. How you doing? I'd be like, why are they always talking to me? Why are they always sitting to me? Catch the train going downtown Center City from Roxborough. And they would sit next to me and talk to me. Everybody, didn't matter, old, young, and it just something about me. And then I realized it's my light, it's my personality. It's like I'm happy to be here. In the inside, I might not have been happy, but on the outside, it was like, okay, I'm going. For me, I love exploring. Maybe that's what that came from. I love to travel. I love trains. So I grew up on the train. I would go for the holiday. Most kids spend holidays in a state. I caught the train as a little kid from Philadelphia 30th Street train station to North New Jersey train station every Thanksgiving, every Easter, every Christmas. I was visiting my aunt. So I would go to Jersey, my aunt would take me to New York. So I've had a vast experience of going to cultured plays, the what it was, Rockefeller Center, going to the Phantom of Opera, the Cats. I mean, I was exposed to so much that to me, I seen everybody like everybody. I've never at that time I had never been exposed to racial until I watched the thing called Roots. That made me rethink a whole lot of something, something, something. That was the turning point, and I was like, wow, that's really what is that what happened. But then again, I said, no, that's a book, that really didn't happen. You see, in my mind, even though I watched Good Times, even though what was it, The Jeffersons was my favorite. We're moving on up to the sky, yeah. For me, I grew up being black, or being me was something to be proud of, nothing to be ashamed of. So when
Mhm.
I encounter someone with that, and I didn't realize I was in a lot of hostile territory and turned a lot of people around and not realizing by my personality. Cause I'm just gonna be me. If you don't like, you either like me or you don't. If you don't bother me.
Mhm.
Let me go my way and I'll go yours. Because let me tell you, you don't want to encounter messing with me. And that's all I'll say. Um, and I always like, I have like my friend said, you have this aura like don't mess with you. And I was like, really? She was like, it's, you can turn it on and off, and that's a metaphysical thing that I learned. You either You can learn to put yourself invisible, or you can make yourself wattage, where you're very much the light. And even darkness love light, and light loves light. So you're going to attract everything because you're that open. I learned that from Queen of Four. That's what she told me. She was like, you light so bright that you're going to attract some darkness too, along with the light that you attract. And I was like, really? Even though you're light, darkness like light, light like light. So you're going to attract all of that. And you could be of darkness and attract light too, and as well as darkness.
Mm-hmm.
So that two folds. So for me, it was like, okay, that's different. But we were talking about navigating. I never had it to. But my thing is, if you want to, find something that you have in common. Do things that you like. Like, you want to learn a language, learn Mandarin. I learned Mandarin because I want to. I like Korean food, so I cook Korean food or Japanese food. These are my things. This had nothing to do with relationships. Um, I grew up making Italian food, of course. Um, grew up making that, living in the neighborhood, and all of that, being exposed to different cultures. So that's why. So if this is what you like, you might find that someone that you like or is in have the same interests
Mm-hmm.
that you might want to date. If you like jogging, there might be a jog meetup. So you go jogging. It's a cooking class. You want to learn to cook, take the cooking class and you might meet someone.
Mm-hmm.
You like traveling. Now they have this thing where people can get travel buddies and they travel together. Um, on this app they have, that they're meeting people and they're traveling together. So you're
Mm-hmm.
not traveling by yourself. So you can get in a travel club and you're meeting people together and they're cruising together. So there's different things that you like, and you might find that people, the more you're exposed. You like opera. I love operas. Some people might find it a yawn. I like galleries. I like, like I said, I grew up in Philadelphia. I mean, Center City, hello. So what are we known for? Museums, art museums, history museums, the Bell. I mean, culture, for real, for real. So in history. So these are things that always attracted me. So I'm going to gravitate because that's what I grew up. This is what I like, and this is what I want to do. So I'm going to attract those different people. If I like lectures, then I'll find a lecture. If you're a sci-fi person, you go to sci-fi. You might want to go to, what is it, the Living Expo, the Conscious Living Expo, the Sci-Fi Expo, the UFO conference, or I mean, minerals, crystals. There's so many things out there that you can get engaged in, that you're engaged, you're not even trying, but this is something that you'll bump into someone, that you expose yourself. Your intelligence, if you are an educated woman and you're in an environment, okay, say you're a dean. Now deans are always going to different mixers, different networking, where they gotta apply for like grants and do all these things to get loans for their department and scholarships and monies and sponsors. So for them, they're interacting with people. So these are different places that you're meeting people and don't even know that you could be a part of that dynamic, to actually connect with another person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you're exposed, if you
Okay.
will. This
Okay.
is what I meant. Go. So what do
Alrighty.
you?
No, I was just wondering about that because here's my thought. I know that I have definitely attracted men from other cultures, and especially in my younger days, I didn't realize that they were attracted to me. Like I said, the whole thing was far more subtle. um, but it wasn't something that I had an objection to. One of the things that I did recall telling um, a person was that They really would have had to have been really sort of blatant and really up in my face for me to have acknowledged it, because there was a part of me that wasn't expecting it. Um, Also, there, but again, I recall when I was younger, I was a teenager, and I was talking to my grandmother. And this is specifically my father's mother. And I was telling her, we were talking, and we mentioned interracial dating, and I says, I did not see a problem with it. I did not, and that I would not have thrown the idea, completely out of the window, simply because, you know, you don't know who it is that you will ideally pair up with, regardless of whatever may be going on. You don't know ideally who you will pair up with. Well, the thing was is that even though my father was not necessarily a part of my life, he had a whole lot to say about that. Yeah, yeah, he had some stuff to say about that, because my grandmother took that back to him. And not that it would have, not that his opinion necessarily meant anything to me, because he wasn't really a part of my experience. But you know I, let's just say I was not going to allow myself to be caught up in the obligations of being loyal to um, the race. Now,
Kudos. I like
you know,
that.
you know, and I say this because there's a, let's just put it this way: when I when I do my social media experience, one of the things that I've observed is that, especially black women tend to deal with a great deal of misogyny. Uh, Black women are expected, there are some, you know, men who feel that black women should follow this subservient role, when that has never been our role in the first place. It
I
has never, it has never been our role in the first place. We have always been working. In fact, when I was actually talking to my mother-in-law today, and I was explaining to her that I realized that in hindsight that may have been a little harsh, in my judgment of my female family members, because none of them seem to have had a successful relationship. But here's the rub of why.
okay.
Here's the rub as to why. There was a limited selection of men, period.
Right.
And if you're going to stay down there in my hometown, the pool is limited. There are a lot of dusties out there. There are a lot of alcoholics out there
Oh,
in my little country town. There were a lot of men out there that weren't living up to their highest potential. And as the black women around in my community, they didn't really have any time for that, because they were busily taking care of the family. And then, in addition to that, for the most part, the family as a collective was doing work to push the family forward. So, it wasn't this whole this whole idea, and I guess you could say male, you know, um, patriarchal structure was not a thing for us. It is. I'm not saying that that there weren't some people who actually experienced that. It's just never been my experience, and never been the experience of the women that I was raised up around. In addition to that, what I found was that there, because the whole family was operating as a collective, this whole concept of gender roles was never a thing. So when I got married the first time, I did not have any expectations, and I got sucked into the expectations of the other person.
Wow.
You know, and I acknowledge that, because I did not have, I guess you could, a foundation or a representation of male role models, outside of my cousins. Um,
Hmm.
because I did not have that constant role model, and a father figure there to explain to me about how ideally I should be treated, or how, my and also my mother, for the most part, she wasn't a person who kept, a rolling, cycle of men coming through the house, or while I was there, because she was preoccupied and concerned about whether or not, you know whether or not that man may have had some intentions towards me. So, she was very selective in the people that she brought in. um, and let's just say that she herself was, she herself was open to dating men outside of the race as well. Um, but again, I had to like sort of amend my original thought about the women in my family. There was this push of this idea of being, financially and economically independent, and I can see that, with the way that society is structured, like this whole idea of the patriarchy is dying. It's dying, a very right now, a very loud death, but it is dying in the sense that, at least over here in the US, there is a need for there is a need for a person who is making maybe like 30, 40, 50, maybe even up to $60,000 a year. There is a need for a two-family income in order to, address the needs of the household and of the family, because, it does not, the structure from back in the day and the amount of money that had to be paid compared to what we have to deal with now, it does not compute.
Correct.
It does not
It-
compute. It does not compute. So, with that being the case, that I think that many of the many of the men that, that are downgrading or denigrating black women because of their financial, economic pursuits, whatever the case may be, um, that they're delusional, and they are not working on being their highest and best selves, or else they would not be over here criticizing, women,
right.
especially women of color, about the choices that they're making in terms of the type of life that they are, I more likely than not, have been enculturated to have. Because the thing is that many of the, when a woman has come in from a two family, when I say two family, mother, father, or two-person household, what you find is that the men tell their girls to go ahead and make sure that they are set, so they don't have to rely on the guy.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
mean, and it's being strongly encouraged because they already know. And the thing is that, again, a lot of times when you're making that comparison, the thing is like a lot of the things that men A lot of the things that women are capable of doing now, they weren't able even to do up until maybe like the mid to late 70s. Being able to get their own bank account, able to get a credit card, be able to get a job, be in a place of having equal pay.
Hmm.
These things were not available at all, and there were some women who had been stuck. But especially for Black women, especially because they are, at least here in the States, are the most educated populace. And you are dealing with men who have so much insecurity within their own culture that they are having a problem. You know, look, just open up your options. You don't, especially if that is a goal of yours, to be in relationship and to be, to have children. Don't limit yourself. And the thing is that I find it really interesting. On a certain level, the media is causing it to be such that Black women are more denigrated than any other class of women.
Yes.
It's in the music, it's in the culture.
Right.
We're told that we're masculine. We're told that you know, that we what are the other things, that we should be a workhorse. We are told that that we should be,
Superwoman.
yeah, be the superwoman. That, like, nobody is built to withstand all of the things. We all need help. We all need a support system in place. Whether or not, you get it from your partner, which is, kind of questionable. I would say that you would, you know, even if that person is of that mindset, um, I would strongly suggest that you get a strong support system of whomever is willing to assist you with you know being better, giving you the opportunity to get a break. Because I got to tell you,
It's hard.
it is challenging. And then when I've heard this thing where there are women who are single parents and they're still married to somebody. Like, open up your options, because there's a possibility that there is, if you are coming into this sort of consistent pattern, you may want to do something different in order to get a different type of result in your experience.
Now, let's address some of us need healing because we've been made to, like we need to be the Olivia Pope of the world. I handle it. It's handled.
I never
That kind of
watched that
situation.
show. I knew about the show, but I never watched it. I think I watched a couple of episodes of it, but
Olivia Pope, what is the show? Whatever. It was some show. I, I,
Scandal,
oh, there
Scandal.
you go.
I know the name of the show. I just never
On
watched it.
like she said, is handled. But that's a character. Everything is handled. Is taken care of. I got it. This is, it's done. Everything is left to her. You got to pick up the pieces. You got to be strong. You're you know you're the grandmother, the backbone, but that also come from the history that was taught to us of breaking down the family, the structure. And that's what we need to realize, that there's also some healing from that, because that has been broken down too, of
Mhm.
the structure of the family. Why is it, I know this is, why is it the blah, I hate saying blah, it just, whoo, why is it people with my hue, families are broken down so easily and easily discarded, easily cast aside?
Okay.
Why is it so easy for them to say you're abused, you're that, or for us, if CPS come in your home, then you must have deserved it. CPS doesn't come in your home and try to take your baby. That's a lie. I'll share about that. That's a lie. CPS is calls for different reasons. They need a lot of different quotas to fill for a lot of different positions. That's new. But we're the target to separate and digrade and degrade. Like we have no structure. We don't, I feel, don't come together enough to support ourselves. That's why I say I would like for us women to come and support each other, whether it's from your background of, excuse me, I got something in my throat, um, background of love. I got you. That's what we need. I got you. You're not standing by yourself. You got me. I'm holding you, sis. I got you. That's what I think of my friends. Like I try to be that friend, but I realize, you know what? Not everybody's deserving of that energy. I had to realize that.
Hmm.
Everybody's not deserving of that energy. That you say, I got your back, I support you. Like I said in my videos, when the chips are down, how many people are there for you? um, I'm still recovering. Uh, as y'all know,
I'll
I
go
get
ahead and
better.
you
Go ahead.
you go ahead and take care of yourself, and I'll go ahead and
Go ahead.
actually answer that question. So there's a lot of things that are going on. First off, I think that for many who are in the diaspora over here in the U.S., that what is happening is that a lot of us have not healed from the years of trauma that we may have experienced. I think that now we are finally getting to this place of recognizing that what we have been defined as is is shifting, because we're recognizing that the mindset that supposedly told us who we are is ill themselves. Um, I'm just saying. I'm just saying that they're not well. They're not well. White supremacy and all of that, they are collectively, that whole energy is not well. And the thing is because of the space that they operate in, and all of the projecting that they have done on people in the diaspora worldwide, whatever definition that they've given for you is incorrect. And
Correct.
so you have to be in a place of being internally introspective. You're having to be able to be in a place of deconstructing that self-hatred that you may actually have for yourself. No wonder we're able to fall apart so quickly, because we ourselves are looking at ourselves in an unhealthy light. And of course, if you're looking at yourself in an unhealthy light, you will, you know, things will come across your path and blow you over and knock you down, just like the wind. Um, Also, I think that once once we get into a place of being healed, it's going to be more difficult for those type of forces to come into our sphere and have as much of an impact on us as it has had. And especially if we can start being in a place of refocusing our energy, and not so much focus on what white supremacy is doing, and focus in on how it is that we build the infrastructure, whether or not it's in our families, whether or not it's in our communities, to bring healing, and a wholeness, so that we can, create that wave that will, I guess you could say, continue to have a rippling effect.
Okay.
Yes, a rippling effect to those who are around us who will themselves look to facilitate their own healing, and understand that you're going to have to you're going to be challenged in the sense that you're going to be breaking down um, habitual structures that were never for your greatest and highest good in the first place, but that you may have been culturally addicted to.
That's a way.
Yeah. So that is, like, I guess you could say, my most basic answer to that question that you posed there in regards to this.
Yeah,
Um, and then, like, just put it this way: when you get to a point where you have facilitated a great deal of your emotional healing, your ability to discern who is for you and who is against you will be far more clear. They're going to be revealed, like lickety split. It'll be to such a degree that they will tell you their intent without realizing that they have told you what their intent is, and you're going to easily say, okay, this person is for me, this person is for me, this person, oh my god, they are a dumpster fire. Or or this person, oh, it could work out there, but I could see, like, he got some quirks and what have you. Like,
right.
and it won't really matter, because the thing is that you're going to draw, like you said earlier, you're going to draw a lot of people to you, some people who are healthy, some who are not so healthy, but you're going to be in a place of discerning, like, yeah, that's not working. So let me go ahead and explain what healing looks like for for an individual, because a lot of times I think that we say the word healing, but we don't really understand,
Understand.
understand what that means. So when you are in a place of being healed, you are trusting that inner guidance, that part of you that is divine, that is able to see without actually using your eyes.
Ashe.
When you are healed, you are operating in your place of personal power. You are operating in the space of honesty and transparency. And the thing is that when you operate in a space of transparency and honesty, it's able to keep those who are not aligned with that out of your sphere, or have you be in a place of placing them out of your sphere. What that looks like is having your sets of requirements of what it is that you would need for a relationship. What it
Ashe.
is that you, even though you are desiring a relationship, you're okay with being by yourself. you are
Dang.
you're having a joyful time partying with yourself, being in your own space, being in your own company, and and not actually being in a place of being needy. And the thing is that people are able to tell that you are in that place
Yeah.
of healing. I mean, this is what healing looks like. And the thing is that because you're in a place of being aligned, um opportunities opportunities to meet people, to open up your purview, to have people who are more in align with what it is that who it is that you are. They're going to be drawn and attracted to you. You're going to be drawn and attracted to you. You're going to hear a voice tell you, go to this guy's party. Go to this guy's party, and you go to the party, and 6 months later you end up married to them. I'm just saying, like, things actually operate in a different space, in a different level for you when you are operating in that space of healing. Like, there are so many serendipitous experiences that you are having that it almost seems mystical.
Right. Now, I want to say some people, you were talking about being good in your own self. Some people jump into relationships because they're scared to be by themselves with themselves, and that's because they don't even know who they are.
They don't know
So
who
my
they
thing,
are. Hmm.
and so you're so busy trying to just that extra person, you're not really knowing who you are. So you're making a lot of mistakes because you haven't gotten time to go deep dive into yourself, to look within. Who are you? Not what you do, because that's how a lot of us divine. Oh, um, I'm a doctor, so I am Dr. D. Um, I am a med physician, or I am a nurse, or I am a herbalist, I am a mother. I mean, these are titles. You hear me?
Hmm.
Titles.
Hmm.
But who are you? Who are you really? Like, what do you do? Not what you do, not your action, not who you are to somebody else, but who is you? What is the inner core of yourself, of getting to know yourself and putting it out there? If I go to a beach and I'm by myself, do I need a whole bunch of well, I ain't gonna say a whole bunch of ruckus or a whole bunch of this and that to have a good time? Can I go in the mountains and sit up on the mountains and look and be with myself? Can I be in peace just in a room with myself? And I used to teach people for relationships, actually date yourself. And they were like, date myself? Yeah. How would you like to be treated on a date? Take yourself on a date. Go to a nice restaurant, whatever. Make a reservation, just like for one, and enjoy yourself. There are plenty of people that do that now. There was one particular lady that actually took a picture with her on her date with herself and put it in the seat and went on a date, and she did this. And people would think it's funny. But for me, I learned this when I was younger, how to date myself, be with myself for a long time. And then I had children.
Hmm.
And I used to take my children on dates. And when I was in a relationship, my mate that transitioned in 2007, he said, not only am I dating you, I gotta date your children. And the first of all, I gotta get past them to get to you. Ooh, okay. So I'm not just dating you. And that's the thing. You're not, when you're going with a single mother, you're not just going with the mother, you're going with the child. But the thing is, that relationship has to be developed. I'm not just saying, oh, any Joe Blow that you're going to let in there, because I'm very particular about who's going to be with my kids, because you'll be singing soprano forever. But that's just saying. I don't want there to be no casualties up in there. But that is something that I learned. I know how to be by myself. And then we complain, well, I've been by myself 15 years. So what why are you uncomfortable with yourself? It's gonna happen if you really want it to happen, because sometimes we say we want it to happen and then we put that block.
Well, what I will say is that here, okay, so the spiritual master that I follow, one of the things that he said was that the reason why people are not necessarily in relationship is because they're not necessarily doing what I would call the inner work. So all of that stuff that I mentioned about what healing looks like,
Yep.
there is there are levels and layers of of things that you can do, a
Correct.
variety of things that you can do that are in a place of yielding your healing.
Hmm.
And perhaps the thing is that if you don't have a person that's in your space right now, maybe they're not ready, maybe you're not ready. The whole objective really is to be your highest and best self at at every level of your experience. And how just be in a place of sharpening the saw, to be your highest and best version of yourself,
Right.
so that you're in a place of being in a relationship with someone who is more on par with you than you may have experienced.
Right. That makes
You know,
sense.
and
It's
also kind of take a look at, you may want to take a look at, well, how is it that you are feeling about your in the meantime?
there you go.
You know, because in the meantime is a really the time of cultivation, of doing that inner work. So I think, I can't recall exactly how many years it takes. Um, okay, how long does it take? Does it does it take for a bamboo? Okay, okay. So for bamboo to grow, in the meantime, for bamboo to grow, it doesn't sprout right away. It takes 3 years for the root system to develop. And that's what's happening in the meantime while you're by yourself. Your root system is developing. And then it takes about 5 to 7 years for that bamboo shoot to grow into maturity. And also, here's something to actually consider. Were the representatives of that were responsible for raising you, the representation of relationships that you've seen, would that be the type of relationship that you would have? And is your vision of their relationship actually accurate?
Mm, I
I,
like that.
you know, look, I came across a video of a mutual of mine, and she showed a video of this man that was talking about, he and you know the granddaughter came to him and says, how is it that you remain married for 25 years? You know, and he was like, this idea that you have of our relationship may be inaccurate, because the thing is that you are far more independent than your grandmother, because I used to whip her when she would make anger me. And he was like, you got too much mouth. Just, oh my God, just, and what he said was that now that his granddaughter knows the truth, she is so disappointed, that to learn that he was an abuser. But he was like, one of the other things was what, where was she going to go? She was trapped. Now, here's what I will share with you, family. So with that, and this is the thing, there was the facade of what the reality was, and then there was the reality.
Right.
And you may want to actually ask questions of the individuals in your family to find out what that reality actually was. Now, to be in a place of actually having a, an evolved relationship, and I'm going to call it that simply because when you are in a place of healing, this is ideally what you are looking for. An evolved relationship can quite possibly mean that you don't actually have arguments with the individual. I say this because, in the evolved relationship, you guys already have the understanding and knowing that if something happens, that person is not the person that would intentionally try to harm you. So you're in that place of being sort of reflective and saying, okay, this bothered me. And you're
Right.
able to go to your partner and say, this bothered me. What was going on in that experience you know, this is what bothered me about that experience. What was going on in your mind when that was happening? So that you have a greater understanding. So the need for arguments may not necessarily be there. Um, Also, you may actually want to develop a different set of skills in terms of relationship to have an evolved relationship. So reading the books like by Gary Chapman about the five love languages, or reading books about nonviolent communication by Rosenberg, or or reading books about how to operate differently and navigate differently. Like, in the meantime, this is what you're doing in order to prepare for that mate that is your, that is representative of your evolved relationship.
Makes sense.
Hmm.
Makes total sense. Well, the thing is, in the family that is black, again, is that we're taught what goes on in the family stays in the family.
Oh,
So
well,
there
yeah.
might be family members that have been know that there's been abuse, but we just don't talk about Uncle Jimmy beating Pammy, Aunt Pammy. We just don't talk about that. That is just something that's hush hush. We don't talk about, how Uncle Jimmy get drunk and steal all the money, and you know what I mean? There's these things that we keep hush hush. Even today, you know. Um, I have an aunt that says the same thing. What goes on in my
Let
family
me
stays
jump
in
in
my family.
crazy
It's
again.
none of their business. I ain't telling anybody else what's going on. If they don't want
And,
to, if they want to know, they gotta find out themselves. That's wrong.
and here's what I would say is that you're going to want to be, if you are courageous, and there are two options that you have. You can go ahead and challenge the family structure. There's a young woman, um, again, that I follow, and she talked about how abusive the family is, and she goes to every family function to cause disruption in the family so that she can be a representative to the younger generation, to let them know that if they're experiencing the things that she talks about, to know that that's not right, and to speak to disrupt the culture of the family so that so that she can be in a place of helping them to break the the culture, the destructive family culture of abuse within the family.
Dysfunction.
You have that option. I think it's a rather bold option, but you I don't look for that type of energy and that type of drama, but more power to her, because I think that her intent is a beautiful thing.
But
The
let me
other.
let me say this. Some of us are put here to actually break our family curse.
Hmm.
Meaning,
Absolutely.
the energy that you come into is the disruption, the whatever, the fire or whatever that's
Hmm.
going on. You're put
Hmm.
here to break that, and that's for them to either want to stop it, break it, or continue. And some do, and then some don't. But you
Hmm.
got to make a decision. If you're going to take on this role, you're going to be the black sheep to the family, and that's okay. But heal yourself, and don't take it personally. That's what I have to say, because a lot of us do take it personally. Go on. I'm sorry.
And no, no, no. Well, here's what I will say. Especially if you're a person who is concerned about that, because says he is right, that you may be considered the black sheep, and you may seem to be by yourself. But when you decide to take on that energy of being a disruptor, and understanding that you're a disruptor of this family structure that needs to be reoriented and healed and what have you, what will happen is you're going to get a family of choice. You're going to get a family of choice. It isn't like you do, like all of the stuff that we've been talking about the healing and what have you. You don't do that by yourself. You need other
Usher.
people. You need
Usher.
other people. And so it is almost as if the universe says, okay, okay, we heal. She or he is looking to disrupt this family trauma, and disrupt this particular culture. We're going to give that person the structure, and especially if you're actively looking for it, actively looking for it, you're going to find that family of choice there. And I will just say, even when you're in your healing journey, even though you may meet people who are metaphysicians and what have you, understand that you're still going to have to navigate just the way you do in, I guess you could say, the quote unquote regular world, to see
Usher.
who is compatible with you and who is not, because not everybody is the same. That was a culture shock to me. Yeah, I mean, humans are humans wherever they go. I'm just saying. um, but anyway, that what I will say is that, like I said, that young lady, she comes in to disrupt. The other option is to completely separate yourself from the family, because that family dynamic is not going to work for you. It's going to make it even harder if you try to stay in that family structure in order to facilitate your healing. And that family of choice is going to show up for you to help you to navigate what what it is that you're going to need.
Right. And
Because here's the thing, her family was so toxic. The lady that says that she was the disruptor, her family was so toxic. She had to actually read a book that showed what a basic form of quote unquote normal is. So we're talking about basic boundaries. We're talking about people who don't, who are not having sex with children, people who are not,
ooh,
beating, children just for, you know, maybe having a thought or opinion, just like very basic stuff. It was just absolutely fascinating to me. But I again, you are looking to create a different system, and there are people who are out here who are doing the work, or you can do the painstaking work yourself and actually read the books and then start applying the knowledge that you have.
and I can make another suggestion. You can also do past life regression.
Hmm.
That will definitely take you, because when you're doing it with someone, you have someone in support to help you to navigate through your past, to get rid of the trauma, exactly where it is and how to navigate and how to respond. And it gives you a lot more support where you're not by yourself. I know that past life regression is, have seen it done for a lot of people, that they bounce back
Hmm.
and their lives are a lot better when they go through it, through the trauma and the drama that they go through. So that's another way of, like, and then some people don't realize that that's what they're put on this earth for, because you can be the black sheep of family from birth and not realize that's what your function is until you got older.
Well, hey,
Okay.
here we go. Here we go. Hands up,
Right.
hands up,
Hands
hands
up.
up. Yours truly. You
So
know,
I
I'm,
mean,
I'm, and I had to be okay with being different. I'm going to
yes.
call it different, but being different than everybody else, and thinking the way that I do about problems, and observing people the way that I do, and communicating with people the way that I do. I had to learn how to become comfortable with that, because I had caused myself a great deal of unnecessary pain behind, why am I so different?
Right. I'll give you an example. Um, I'm on the phone and you speak to me and they're like, oh, I'll say hello. Some people just automatically assumed I'm a white woman. They even talked to me for hours. I went for the Culinary Institute, give you a perfect example. My name being Cicely Caprice D'Angelo, talked on the phone to this lady for a whole year before my application, before I got there. And this is also a good story about manifestation. I said I wanted to go to the Culinary Institute. I used to be a nurse at Doylestown Hospital, and my career stopped. And I applied for us, like, do something that you love. I love to cook. I have a passion for cooking. Oh boy, I love cooking. So I applied for the school, met the lady, whole 9 yards. I packed my family up and just told them we moving. We moving to New York. Found a house out there in Millerton, New York. Didn't get accepted into the school, but I moved our behinds out there from
Hmm.
Pennsylvania, and we moved. And my two children and enrolled them in school the whole 9 yards. Didn't get accepted in school, and I went and I applied. Talked to the lady. Finally went for my interview. Lady was like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna get in here. We're gonna talk and stuff like that." Paid my fee, and finally met the lady. I'm sitting down at the thing, and at the lady, I told the lady at the desk, volunteer of the Culinary Institute, who I was. And she said, okay. So the lady comes out, Cicely D'Angelo, Cicely D'Angelo. I stand up and I said to her, I said, I'll give you 2 minutes to go into the office, and then we can come back and start this over again. And I'll sit down. Now, mind you, I had a tea by myself and I just drank my tea and I was relaxed. I went in there calm, cool, and whatever. My name, Cecily D'Angelo. Okay, interesting. So I went in there and I sat up and talked to her, and she's like, Cecily? I was like, yes. And how are you? Are you having a pleasant day? Again, looked at me like, you can tell, like, this is the okay, this is the same woman I'm speaking on the phone with. Yeah, it's me. I want to say yes, it's me, but I was like, but I kept it together. How you answered the questions and everything, and then I can tell she was sweating so bad. Her hands were so sweaty because she didn't know what to do. Um, and she went to shake my hand. Oh, God, I hate them. This is a time that I would use sanitary stuff if I would have thought about it back in that day. And shook my hand, and she was sweating. And I said, "You just have a beautiful day, and I'll look forward to being starting the school in the spring. I'll be looking forward to that application." Did you hear what I said? I'll be looking forward for that application. I'll be starting in the spring. I didn't ask her, did I get in? I just told her I got it.
Hmm.
I manifest what I wanted, but that perception of what it was, it's like, oh, I thought something else. But that is my perception of what my family said. Oh, you sound white. And I said, okay, what does a white person sound like? And what does a black person sound like? And what does an Asian person sound like? And what does a Mexican sound like? What sound does what does that do? Can you explain that to me? I don't quite understand.
Did they ever answer you? I mean, because the thing is that you're talking about is our accents and tones and intonations, and that is not based on where a person is brought up is what it is that that they're projecting in their voice, and you can be inaccurate because there have been some you know, um, uh, people of European descent that
Uh-huh.
that I have met who I would have sworn, and truth be told, they grew up in the ghetto, or let
Well,
me
what's the ghetto?
quick correction, grew up in urban neighborhoods. They grew up in urban neighborhoods, and that's the reason. And I would look at them and like, oh, okay, all right, I can totally feel it. And it's not like it's there isn't a need necessary for a person to restrict themselves to wherever it is that people say that they should live. You
Right.
know, yeah. So yeah, that whole thing, that whole thing of trying to discern whether or not what a person's cultural background is based off of how a person may sound is a total misnomer. Like, you could really mess that up, because I kid you not, there was not too long ago that I actually saw a gentleman of European descent that sounded very, had a very strong Jamaican accent. And when you hear him, it does cause a little bit of it does cause you to kind of broaden your perspective of what it is that you believe that sound of his voice should be. But we need
Okay.
to stop, but our biases, I mean, and our minds are more naturally inclined to be biased and create biases. But, we as human beings, we really need to stop doing that. We do. Because there are so many people who are out in the world who are anomalies. There are
That's true.
7.837 billion people on the planet. That's a lot of
Yeah.
people. And not
Yeah.
all of them not all of them are going to sound alike, be alike. There's no two people who are alike. The source that is within us all seems to absolutely delight in surprising us and throwing off our biases, and and having so much plurality and diversity, and just in the plant life, and in the animal kingdom, and in the kingdom of humanity as well.
Makes sense. All right. As you can see, I'm switching around.
I see.
Uh, that's the difference between working with a laptop and what is it, iPad thingy. Yeah, I'm I'll get it down. So well, yeah. Let's see, girl. We've been on for quite a minute. I didn't
Mhm.
realize. Wow. Thank you guys, and we got some people. Anybody got any questions? If you had any questions, you could have put it in here in the box. Um, I know we had quite a people in and out, and I do hope that everybody got something from it. But I would like to talk about, later on at another segment, how about building relationships. Um, I do have another show tomorrow that I'm going to do. I believe it's at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's going to be single mothers. So, from a single mother's point of view, especially, uh, it's hard um, from a biracial background and other things of different views of abuse. So it's so much going on uh, in this world that I just trying to get like a nugget to give for someone to hold on to positivity. That's what I'm hoping, that I give you a nugget, something that you can use and build on and take from here. So I hope that something I've said or something Arlene said gave you something that gives you hope, give you something to move on and to build with, and to actually have courage in yourself to support yourself and give you information that you can use and can look up and use and apply to your life. That's what I'm hoping this show did for you. I don't know. Could you tell me some takeaways you've taken away from this conversation we've had?
Um, Takeaways. Um, Okay, so the takeaway that I will that's just more or less on a personal level is that I I'm doing my extemporaneous thing a whole lot better than I used to. Because I remember years ago, Ceci had me on her blog talk show, and she's like, "I just want you to talk," and I was out. Oh, I'm not that. I'm no longer that person. So that's the takeaway. That there has definitely been some growth and development since for since he first met me. That is my takeaway.
Okay, okay.
I will say that the natural takeaway that came out of me, I think, is really, especially when you shared your experience about not really having to be bothered or concerned um, about racism with dating and things of that nature. The answer that came to me was that, well, when a person is in a place of healing, that space is easier to navigate. Like, they are not going to be able to hide the truth from you. That's the takeaway. When you are in a place and space of healing, in your healing, and understand, one of the things that I will say about healing, healing is not necessarily a destination. It is always an ongoing and evolving thing. Yeah, it's always an evolving thing.
Yeah.
So to just navigate in this world with yourself connected to the divine, you're those people who are for you, you're going to know it. Those people who are not for you, you're going to know it. You're going to know it. You're going to be in a place of knowing who is for you and who is not for you, and being able to better discern, and also allow yourself to can be in a continuous space of learning.
All
You know,
right.
always, so
Thank you. I like
that is my takeaway.
my takeaway is that we this is helpful on so many levels, meaning that it helped me see things that I didn't even think about. I didn't realize that in my life when I look at it, oh, I really don't know what prejudice was. Like that one thing, it was just a trigger, but I didn't know. But like I said, it was kind of tried to be cultivated, but I wasn't having it. And that's being honest. I mean, and then I'm gonna say I moved to Arizona. For me, they was like, there's no black people in Arizona. Hello, I live there. There are black people in Arizona. There's no black people in Scottsdale. Hello, I moved there. Anywhere you say there was not black people, I've lived there. Hawaii, same thing. So for me, um, takeaways. I live, I live me. If that makes sense. I do me. I don't. I used to live for others or others' opinions. That should make sense, if you will. Um, I used to be a people pleaser, and then I had a daughter that was a people pleaser. And then I was like, no, we're gonna cut that right there. So that's what I take away, that I learned from my development not to pass down my uh I don't know,
The
dysfunction,
dysfunction.
dysfunction,
Hmm.
dysfunction of
Hmm.
unhealthiness down to the next generation. That being my daughter, because I wanted her to be a better young woman and be all that she can. Like I told her, advice was to her, don't let somebody define you. You define who you are. Don't let somebody tell you who you are. You tell them who you are. Because if you let them dictate you are who you are, you will become that. When you dictate who you are that, and you will stay that. That is my advice to everybody. I am who I am. I love it. I'm always evolving. I am never the same from one second to the next second. And I love each and every. Whoo, I gotta wheel that in. Because I am learning. to love each moment by moment that comes with being me, because it's so much more, so much more, so much more.
Hmm.
And I love what I came for. The I love doing shows like this. I love talking to individuals. I love interviewing. I love getting out information. I love uh, things that I can accomplish on here. So that's what I love, and that's a great takeaway. I'm doing what I love, so um, I love it. And even if I don't make a dime from it, it's kind of sad, but you know what? It's okay at the end of the day. When you do something that you continue to love, all growth will come in. And I'm not making monetary, but it's there. The
Hmm.
abundance is there. So let's put that out there. And I wish always abundance to everyone. So if you felt you learned something or know something and it helped you, please drop me a line. I would love to know. And for the people
And
that might want to,
yeah, like and subscribe,
oh,
and
I
make
didn't think
sure
about
that you ring the notification bell for the Food Alchemy Network. Just so she's not going to do that, but I'll do it for her. Yeah, like and subscribe. My girl, she's awesome.
so I want people to know how they can get in touch with you. Tell them how they can get in touch with you.
Oh, certainly, certainly. So I am on a few platforms. I'm on the Clock app. You know, we know what we call that. I am also on YouTube under Arlene Cahet, Power of Tranquility, and or Power of Tranquility with Arlene Cahet. And people can actually reach out to me via my webpage. It is www.poweroftranquility.net. And you can reach out to me uh, via Facebook. I have a page there, Power of Tranquility. Now, if you want to get a hold of me more quickly, just email me at poweroftranquility@gmail.com.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I hope to see you tomorrow. Stay tuned and rock on with your bad self. Rock on. All right, loves. Uh,
Peace. May peace and power